If you saw the late 90s Bulls win titles, or you've been watching The Last Dance, you know about Toni Kukoc. He's the Croatian forward who Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen humiliated in the '92 Olympics, but eventually became a champion as their teammate in Chicago. Kukoc played a key role in the Bulls' second three-peat off the bench as a forward and a sixth man. He's a part of the original Big Six of international players, the only one, though, not in the Hall of Fame. In this video, we'll explain what happened to Toni Kukoc after his time with MJ and the Bulls, why he isn't in the Hall of Fame despite an amazing resume, and why he's not a big fan of The Last Dance. Hey, it's Casey Kiernan, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and hit notifications because we're still coming out with 5 NBA videos per week, even though there aren't any games. We do, though, have The Last Dance, and it makes you wonder what happened to Toni Kukoc and why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Well, we all know of Jerry Krause's love with Kukoc and how it pissed off the rest of the Bulls. But why? Well, MJ has explained it several times.
Krause was recruiting this guy and talking how great he was. You know, that's like a father who has all his kids and now he sees another kid that he loves more than he loves his own. So we were not playing against Toni Kukoc. We were playing against Jerry Krause.
And as with everything, you gotta follow the money. Yes, Michael and Scottie were upset that Jerry Krause was saying Kukoc was amazing, while his own guys were out there actually being amazing. But he was also planning on paying the new guy too. At the time, Jordan and Pippen were underpaid, but Scottie was criminally underpaid at just $2.8 million per year. The Bulls had money to spend, but they would not renegotiate with Pippen. It was a hot topic, especially after they humiliated Kukoc at the Olympics.
I know Scottie was a little pissed about all the publicity surrounding Kukoc, and he proved today that if they're gonna give anybody in Chicago any more money, it better be him.
And sure enough, after his rookie season with the Bulls, Krause signed Kukoc to a then record-setting contract. He got $26 million over 6 years, making him the highest-paid player in the history of the Bulls. A slap in the face, especially to Scottie Pippen. Okay, so why was Jerry Krause this obsessed about Toni Kukoc? Well, you gotta know what he did in Europe. Kukoc is a natural athlete. He's from a small town called Split, Croatia. He's one of those guys that's just good at any sport that he tries, but he was especially good at basketball. He was the original European unicorn. Dude could play every position, he could pass and shoot, almost a 7-footer who's super skilled. Listen to this resume. Kukoc won European Player of the Year 5 times, Mr. Europe 4 times. He led his team to 3 straight European championships and was Final Four MVP 3 times. He was a 4-time Yugoslavian league champ and MVP of the World Championships in Argentina. He was a good ball handler and passer at 6'11", nicknamed the White Magic Johnson. Kukoc was considered the best player in Europe, and that attracted Krause. At the time, not many NBA teams were chasing European players that hard. I mean, there were some like Detlef Schrempf or Rick Smits, but not anything like it is today. Recruiting and drafting Kukoc should have been a huge win for Jerry Krause as a scout, but instead he ruined it, like he did most other brilliant moves, by alienating other people. So the Bulls drafted Kukoc actually in 1990, a full 4 years before he came over and played in the NBA. He didn't come over immediately for 2 reasons. One was money and the other was opportunity. At the time that he eventually did come over to the NBA at 25 years old, Toni Kukoc had an offer from a Greek team for $5 million a year. So even though he became the Bulls' highest paid player ever, he took a pay cut. And there were guys from his national team who had got drafted, went to the NBA, and didn't play. Kukoc said, quote, "The problem was opportunity. Guys were afraid. Would I go to the Chicago Bulls team winning a championship and I might be sitting on the bench and not playing for the best part of my career? Maybe at 31 or 32 it would be worth it, but not at 24. The problem was European players were viewed as soft. They couldn't handle the NBA. And in Kukoc's case, that actually was kind of true. He was pretty soft on defense. The 25-year-old came to the NBA with all the skill in the world, shooting, passing, ball handling, but he was a minus on defense. And if you're on a Michael Jordan-led team, you better bring it on both ends. Lucky for him though, MJ was gone by the time he played. In Kukoc's rookie year, Jordan was playing baseball. Kukoc came off the bench and made a name for himself, especially with last-second game winners. The most famous, in 1994 in the playoffs, Phil Jackson drew up a play against the Knicks where Scottie Pippen would inbound to Kukoc to win the game. Pippen thought it was a slap in the face. He refused to go in, but Kukoc hit the game winner anyway. That is serious ice in your veins for a rookie. I mean, what player could be a rookie, even at 25 years old, your first year in the NBA, in the playoffs against the Knicks, with the best player on your team leader, refusing to go in the game, and you still hit that game winner? The Bulls, though, lost that series in 7, but eventually Jordan came back. They won 3 championships with Toni Kukoc as a key piece. He came off the bench, won sixth man in 1996. He's the last guy to win sixth man and a ring in the same season. Kukoc was the 3rd leading scorer behind Jordan and Pippen during the second three-peat. He's featured in the Bulls documentary, The Last Dance, but he doesn't really like the storyline. He recently said, quote, "I cherish the things we did in practice, that we did on the road. That team worked so hard and was committed and devoted. We're talking about people who won 6 championships in 8 years, and we've got to find a way to find a dark note." Look, whether he likes it or not, there was a lot of drama on those Bulls teams, but not as much Kukoc, because he wasn't one of these superstars coming off the bench. And it kind of makes you wonder, why would you make your 6th man the highest paid player ever in your organization? Was the 5-time European Player of the Year not good enough to start in the NBA? Not on a team with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. During his time with the Bulls, Kukoc went from being the Michael Jordan of Europe to a 6th man in the NBA. He had to change his style of play. If he got a rebound in the NBA, for example, he had to pass it off instead of dribbling it up the court. Dude averaged 14 points as a Bull. He was never an all-star. For all of the awards he won in Europe before coming over to the NBA, if not a bust, at least you'd call him overrated. After the Bulls win in 1998, Kukoc became the man at 30 years old. In the 98-99 season, Jordan retired again, Pippen and Dennis Rodman moved on, and Kukoc led the team in scoring at 19 points per game, in assists at 5 per game, and rebounds at 7 per game. The problem? He was really inefficient, shooting 42% from the field, 29% from 3. He was lax on defense, and the team won just 13 games in a strike-shortened season. Classic good stats, bad team guy. In 2000, the Bulls traded him to the 76ers in a 3-team deal that brought back a first-round pick, Bruce Bowen, and John Starks. There were huge expectations from the Sixers, including from Allen Iverson, that Kukoc would be key to their success. They even signed him to a 4-year, $29 million deal. Now, it's viewed as one of the worst trades in Sixers history, and Kukoc was a disaster. He didn't fit well with Allen Iverson. Kukoc and Larry Brown were extremely frustrated with each other. In the 2000 playoffs, Brown told the media, "I keep telling him just to make plays. Just play basketball. I really don't know what the problem is." The problem was that Kukoc needed the ball in his hands to make plays, and he was on a team with Allen Iverson, even coming off the bench. The bottom line was Larry Brown didn't know how to use Kukoc, but it's hard to blame him. Kukoc was really ahead of his time. When he came into the league, forwards were guys like Karl Malone or Charles Oakley. Powerful, intimidating, good on defense. Today, forwards are some of the most talented in the game. They create offense. The old school types have been phased out, but Kukoc was a victim of that old stereotype and the style of play at the time. His stats were at a career low in Philly. His defense still sucked, so they traded him to the Atlanta Hawks. In Atlanta, he got more playing time, but again, he was on one of the worst teams in the league. He was traded again to the Bucks, back on a playoff team, but coming off the bench. In his 13-year NBA career, Toni Kukoc was never an all-star, and he never found the same individual success he found in Europe, although he did find team success with the Bulls. These days, Kukoc still lives in Chicago, and he works as a special assistant for the Bulls. He's also still waiting on that call from the Basketball Hall of Fame. His agent explains it like this. If Toni had been drafted by a team out west, say the Phoenix Suns, we'd be talking about him as a 6'11" point guard, a perennial all-star because his skill set was so high. He had the good fortune to play with really talented players, but it overshadowed that incredible skill set. Dude's got a point, and by the time Toni did get his own NBA team, he was already in his 30s. Kukoc says he'd rather be a champion than an all-star and a Hall of Famer anyway, but we'll never know what could have been. The bottom line for Toni Kukoc is he is a super talented, sometimes underrated part of that second three-peat with the Bulls. He was ahead of his time and he would fit right into today's NBA. But the fact is, he didn't play in today's NBA. When he did get his own team, those teams failed. Yes, his Chicago Bulls had success, but based on his NBA career alone, Toni Kukoc is not a Hall of Famer. However, there is a case to be made that he should get in based on his international career, but the good news for him is there is still plenty of time to get in. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.